Hey guys, it's Bob with Johnny Tech Review, and I hope you guys are all doing well. Recently, a company called Macland reached out to me and asked me if I'd like to take a look at some of the product they're carrying on their website. Take a look. I didn't know who they were before, and basically they carry a lot of mechanical gaming keyboard, mouse, those type of thing accessory. They asked me to check out this keyboard. This is the Ajax AK870. It's another Ajax wireless keyboard, mechanical keyboard with RGB, etc. And this one is really cool because I like the color scheme. I like this purple and white color. They have the other color version, which I will put on the screen here. And while looking at their website, I saw the Ajax starting to carry some of the gaming mouse. So I was like, okay, let me take a look at one of the gaming mouse. So I asked for them to also send me this gaming mouse. This is the Ajax AJ159 Apex. Small, interesting gaming mouse. In my house for gaming mouse, I use Glorious Gaming for both wire and wireless version. My kit has a wireless version. With my experience using the Glorious Gaming mouse, I want to take a look at that and compare and see how this mouse stack up with it. So in this video, you're looking at a review for both the gaming mouse and the keyboard together. So first, let's start with the keyboard. The keyboard is a 87 key, 10 keyless layout. So pretty standard stuff. What I like about this keyboard is that, of course, obviously, you have your function row key, which is very useful for me, especially in productivity. And of course, you have your typical insert home key here. And then on top of that, there's a knob that you can use to program it. You can use volume control and also mute, etc. Different functionality, you can reprogram that. And there's a little screen. The screen is kind of like a gimmick, but it's also fun because you can also put GIF and put other animation on it, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. This keyboard is also a wireless Bluetooth or 2.4 dongle, so it has the typical Dremo USB wireless dongle, etc. And it has 4,000 milliamp battery life, so that you can use this wirelessly. So the switch they use here, which I'm not familiar with now, so I'll read it here. It's a KTT Hisense switch. This switch is pretty nice and supple. That's what I like about this keyboard. I saw some video of it before. The actuation force on this is about 45 grams, and in reality it works really well, and I like the typing experience. So as you can see, it does bottom out and it has somewhat of a clacky sound. I guess those who are really interested in a lot more supple sound, you can definitely do like a tape mod or something like that. I, on the other hand, just left it alone. I did not mess with that. I did not open it, but that's an opportunity that you can do. But from my perspective, it's a really nice, comfortable keyboard to type in. I think the actuation is perfect, and you can have the right amount of engagement midway through, and then you can feel it. So for that purpose, it's good. I use this mostly on productivity, but for gaming, obviously it's also a very nice similar type, like a brown switch, where you have an opportunity to engage the switch midway and it feels very easy to transition. It is not such a hard heavy click that you have to go in like typical blue switch. So this is like a brown switch. I really enjoy this type of switch. So relating to this little knob, it has enough tactile and click so you can feel it click in place. It's good, and you can reprogram it. That one little screen has a lot of little icon and information, and it also has the built-in clock, and that I think display a lot of good information there for you. If you hold out a function and the screen, the knob button, you can go into the setting mode, and there you can change a lot of functionality, including changing the RGB lighting and everything on this keyboard. So speaking of RGB lighting, it's set up really well during the day. I have a pretty bright window, as you can see. And through that, you can see it here on this video that it's look pretty good. You have a lot of different customization, including your own way of modding it, or you can just use the built-in. There's like 12, 15 different mode that you can go to it. There's also a music sync mode, which I really like because you can control this direction or that direction using the software. Of course, for that one, you do need to leave the software running. Speaking of software, let's just quickly digress into that. I don't really have anything positive to say about the software, actually. I think this is where the keyboard weakest point is. Of course, you don't need the software to use the keyboard, but to unlock and to customize and give animation on your screen, you need the software. So the first problem was the software was really hard to find. In the user manual, there was no indication of the software. It showed you some screenshot, but there's no QR code, there's no easy way to search for it. You can Google online and find various different versions. But here in the software, if you like, you can go to the home option, which will show up a screen here with different keyboard, assuming you have more than one. You can just select that one. But at default, it does take you to your screen. Here you can have different quick configuration, and you can save and load them. Here on this default one, you can definitely reprogram and change these keys as needed, and you can click on them to be able to do that. Under this functionality here, you can do macro as needed. Under the lighting, there's a lot of lighting option here. You can do all of these on the keyboard itself using the function key, but here it's a little bit easy to see, and you can see the animation and you can load directly to the keyboard. As you're making these changes, it immediately get affected and change on the keyboard itself. The screen, here the screen, you can have different animation, and these are the preset that I had before. On this software here, it doesn't really work that well in terms of loading a GIF file. It doesn't work. I mean, when you load it, it will just be a bunch of empty. So what I did is, in order to kind of trick this, I found a software that exports a GIF into a bunch of JPEGs, and then I just load a JPEG into here, and that works really well. But yeah, it's a quirky load of software process, and I think the software could be better here. The other thing to keep in mind is the bigger your GIF or how many frames you have, the longer it takes. Typically up to a minute or two, depends on how many frames I have in my GIF. But it does display on the screen in Showdown. However, if you reset the keyboard or if you go to the main screen of the keyboard, you actually will erase the display on the screen. Under user, color here, you can also do your own lighting set. Not really a useful function, but I guess you can if you want to just, let's say, set up your own little profile and have 5 or 6 key light up for whatever reason. So here under the real-time lighting effect, you have the option here to change a few settings here. Some of these are a little bit different from the other option. It's a little bit nudge. I typically stick with the other options, the other lighting option. To be honest, I don't see a huge difference here other than just be able to make adjustment on the fly here. However, when it comes to a music functionality or sing to music, the keyboard can do that. There's a few different options here you can see on the drop down menu, and what's great about these is you can change one of these options, and then you can pick how hard the amplitude hit on them and how bright the screen is. This worked really well, and I really enjoy using this at night, playing around. Finally, on the last screen here are the main functionality. You can set the timeout for the keyboard response, and then you can also set the sleep time. There's a firmware update here that you can click. When I checked this last time, there was no firmware update when I got this, so basically it's, you know, as updated as you get. So lastly, I want to talk about the battery life on these guys. 4000 milliamp, they're rated for 2 to 3 weeks of typical usage. If you're using the lighting, they say it lasts 2 weeks, but I doubt it. From my experience, just leaving the light on reactive mode, it lasts roughly about a week. If I leave the light on all day, or have it always animating in different lighting model, like a glowing or something like that, it lasts about 2 days. So that gives you an idea in terms of battery. However, if you leave it off and on reactive, I think 2 weeks is pretty typical. And when the RGB is completely off, which I did not get that far, it supposedly lasts a month. From my experience, roughly about 2 to 3 weeks is when I usually start charging it again. So that is my experience using this for the last 2 months or so. So overall, in terms of this keyboard, I think the mechanical switch is really good. I like the color scheme. Again, you can get different color. I like the fact that the wireless, Bluetooth, and dongle and regular wiring works really well for this. It has 3 Bluetooth mode, by the way. You can connect up to 3 Bluetooth device. So give you an idea though. I think the screen is cool, but the GIF has some issues. Not a very pleasant experience. I think software where this keyboard could use some improvement, and that would be really helpful for this keyboard. So let's shift our focus to the AJ159 mouse. Let's talk about this mouse. I thought it was really cool and really small and neat to use. It also have a base. At the bottom there's a little hole for the dongle, but there's no dongle in there. I asked the company and they say, hey, the dongle is your actual dock, and the dock actually works pretty well. You just drop it down there and charge the battery on this guy. So the mouse itself is a pretty simple design. You got all your buttons, you have a USB-C port here. You can plug it in and use it while charging, so that's a good functionality. And the cable is pretty soft that come with it. It has, I would say it's comparable to my Glorious Gaming mouse cable. The downside of this mouse, let's talk about 2 downsides that I noticed. First of all, the build quality. The dock has a little screen protector for the little screen on the dock. I pull it off, and of course, half the screen come out. I had to push it back in. So I think build quality is one of the thing that this mouse could improve on. The other side of this mouse that has some issues is the mouse gate. I think the mouse gate is a pretty skip blood mouse gate. I don't know why they went with these. They're not that great. I wish they just use a standard, other white or better Teflon skate. It works, but I can tell you, if you call this a gaming mouse, there are much better skate out there. Now, finally, the other downside, very similar in the common theme like the software for the keyboard, the mouse has the same problem. It was hard to find the mouse software, but when you found it, yeah, it works. The mouse software actually is a little bit more pleasant than the keyboard. So here in the first main page here, for the dongle, which is the receiver, you can put something on the screen now. Software here does not represent what's currently displayed on the screen, but you can add and you can edit new one. So for example, erase all of them here, or you can add for example, a frame, and then you can copy from the previous frame as an example, and you can make iteration, so you can make animation, etc. You can also import them using a GIF file. That's exactly what I did. I just upload a GIF file, and then you can have delay between the function here if you're building your own. And under other setting, you have an option here to synchronize the clock or clear the screen, the current, whatever displays on the screen. And in my work, this is the last thing that I created, but you can save it now, and it's saved locally. It's not on the account yet. On the about page, this is where you can look at the software to update the receiver. It's already at the latest version. You just hit this button, it will do nothing currently. And now let's swap over to the mouse. Give it a second to initialize. You can do this while the mouse on wireless or wire in. The first screen here, you can make settings such as changing the functionality. Here you can see the mouse functionality. You can also set the sensitivity of the click, etc. And here are standby time for the Bluetooth and the 2.4 GHz dongle if you want to do that. The default mode right now is there's actually no root dongle. The dongle is the receiver, so I'm doing that here. Under DPI, you have these settings, and when you reset them, it will go back, but you can change these settings, and these are saved on the mouse itself, right? Under parameters, you have an option to change a few different settings here. Again, I really didn't mess with these. I did mess with the polling rate. It was set, I think, initially at 250. I set it to 1000, and then I set it to 2000. There is a noticeable difference. I just decided that 2000 was perfect balance for me, so that's what I ended up doing. Here, these functionality, to be honest, I have no idea what they do, and I didn't even mess with them. I just left them alone. There is macro. You can build out macro as needed. Again, a function I did not use. And under share, you do need to log into your account to be able to load other people's configuration. Again, option I didn't use. Up top here, you can also see the mouse battery life. And then under about, same thing again here, you can do updates. Keep in mind that with the mouse, in order to do update, you do need to unplug the dongle and plug it straight into the mouse so that the mouse is wiring in order to do the firmware update. When I got this mouse, there was an update for the mouse, and I did do it that way twice. There was two different updates. I think one was for the receiver and one is for the mouse, but I did that. But finally, what's really important about this mouse is how does it work, right? So I am looking at my Glorious Gaming. It's kind of like the standard. I've been switching to many different mouse, but that's kind of where I am these days. And mine is actually a wire version. I also bought for my kid a wireless version of the same mouse, and those not only track very smoothly, it feels very smoothly when you're using it. For this mouse, you have the customization. It started out at 250 Hz for polling rate. You can go up to 5 kHz, and I set it at about 2000, I believe, was the setting that I have. And for me, it was smooth, but it was never as good as my Glorious Gaming. Even when I plug it in, it was not as smooth. And I think partially some of it has to do with the skate not being good, but the other part of it is it just isn't, maybe the sensor is just not as good. I don't know what it is, right? The switch itself works fine. I have no issues with it. I don't see it being worse or better. So in my experience, it's a pretty good working mouse. Finally, battery life, roughly about a week of usage. There is no RGB in this mouse. There's only one LED that tells you what DPI you're on. You can change the DPI switch on the fly, and you can store it in the mouse. That works well. Yeah, for my experience, I would say this is a pretty good mouse. But if you're looking for a gaming mouse and you're gonna spend like 50 bucks, get a Logitech, get something else. I think this is kind of too pricey for this mouse. I do like the functionality, and I like the way you can just dock it and take it off and use it. I think that's pretty nice. But all those things doesn't really equal out to the problem with the crappy software and the not so smooth tracking. So guys, I hope my quick feedback give you an idea on this device. Again, I think the keyboard is really good. Software is in issues. Mouse, okay, mediocre. I would say maybe it's for 20 bucks, it's worth it, but not for $50-$60. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave in the comment box down below. Give it a thumb up if you like this video, and subscribe for more future content. Thank you.